Seminole Airport Authority. Roll call, Jay.
Chris Hansen.
Here.
Trace Connor.
Here.
Tim Poplin.
Here.
Eddie Foreman. John Kramer.
Here.
Larry Church. Corey Crabtree.
Here.
Dana Miller.
Here.
Jeff Griffin. We have a quorum.
Consideration and action of consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, Jay.
Chris Hansen.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes, sir.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Dana Miller.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, do we have any appearances or petitions from the audience for the Seminole Airport Authority? All right, having none, we're going to move on to approvals and acceptances in current business. Consideration and possible action to approve an expenditure of $5,593 to OG&E for installation of an underground electric line for the north T hangars that are being constructed at the airport.
Yes, sir. You probably recall that FAA has given us a grant to construct new hangars at the north end of the airport. And part of what we're trying to do is get access to those hangars next to Jerry Scott's yard. I don't know if that's descriptive to you, but it's essentially the north end of the runway. And in order to do that, we're going to have electric service to those hangars. We had initially thought that we probably could run it overhead for quite a ways and then bury it from there. However, because of our property is only so wide, it doesn't leave us enough room to go overhead. So we're asking permission to use the airport royalty fund to purchase the underground wiring.
Motion to approve. Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Chris Hansen.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes, sir.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Dana Miller.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, with no other items on the agenda, I'd ask for a motion for adjournment.
Move. Second.
Roll call, Jay. Or no, we don't have to do that, sorry.
All in favor?
All right, moving on to the Seminole Gas Authority. We do a roll call, please, Jay.
Larry Church. Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Here.
Dana Miller.
Here.
Trace Connor.
Here.
John Kramer.
Here.
Chris Hansen.
Here.
Eddie Foreman. Jeff Griffin. We have a quorum.
Consideration and possible, or an action of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
Roll call, Jay.
Tim Poplin.
Yes, sir.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Dana Miller.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Chris Hansen.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And with no items removed from consent agenda, are there any appearances or petitions from the audience for the Seminole Gas Authority? All right. Having none, ask for the motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second. Favor.
Do we need to say all in favor? Say
Aye.
aye. Sorry, guys. I'm not used to doing this,
You're good.
but
You're
thanks.
okay. You're okay.
All right, moving on to the Seminole Municipal Authority. We have a roll call, Jay.
Eddie Foreman. Corey Crabtree.
Here.
Tim Poplin.
Here.
Dana Miller.
Here.
Larry Church. Chris Hansen.
Here.
John Kramer.
Here.
Trace Connor.
Here.
Jeff Griffin. We have a quorum.
Consideration and action of consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, Jay.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Dana Miller.
Yes.
Chris Hansen.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, with no items removed from the consent agenda, do we have any appearances or petitions from the audience for the Seminole Municipal Authority? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. My name is Stubby Stumball, and I'm with GFL Environmental, which stands for Green for Life. Used to be WCA, which was purchased by GFL in late 2020, and I also have Alan Cox and John Wasson here, and John's our site manager here. On your agenda tonight, I know that, and I appreciate, number one, I appreciate the opportunity to address you. On your agenda tonight, you have consideration to approve an acceptance of a bid from a different company, but I wanted to share just a couple of things, if I may. I'm the government contract and municipal marketing manager for GFL. I'm a former mayor where I live, so I kind of wear both hats before, kind of know where everybody kind of stands and sits. I want to share just a couple of things, if I may. I think most of us are aware that for the past year and a half or so, we've been battling a pandemic, and a lot of people have suffered from that. Businesses have suffered as the city has, as our company, with employees, also with the obtaining of certain items and so on and so forth. In July of 2021, I received a call from one of the staff members to have a meeting about complaints that we had during that time. And he went from January to June, the end of June. Now, I have the map here. Just wanted to share this just real quick, and we went over these complaints. In that 6-month period, we had approximately 256 complaints in 6 months. Now, that's servicing about 3,656 residential customers. So if you take the time from January to the end of June, we picked up the number of stops during that time was 94,948 services that we provided in that 6 months. So that's one time per week at each residence, which is 3,656. We had 256 complaints, which, I mean, I can show you this, I'm not sure what y'all are gonna do, or what you even know to this, this far, but I know that there's been some recommendations. 8 of those were missing carts, which we replaced. Damaged carts was 11 of those 256, we replaced those. Drop-in trash was 2 of them. Missed stops. Now, you gotta understand, we nor the city determined whether or not they were put out late or whether they were put out before. They were just missed stops. We went back and picked up 230 in that 6 months. Property damage 3, I couldn't tell you about those. I don't know, but if we damaged property, we fixed it as well. Trash overflow was 2, but if you take and look at the number of complaints, time the number and compare it to the number of services over that 6-month period, the 94,983 at 256 complaints, that's an average of complaints of 0.27. That means 99.73% of the time, we got it right. And I'm not saying that we're perfect. Your national average is you're gonna have 5% of your customers complain. Well, with that being said, we had a meeting that day, and we left that meeting with understanding in this map. We went and visited with John. Alan and I visited with the staff, and Alan and I went and visited with John, and within 30 days, we were improving. We had hardly any complaints, and that's what we had received from staff. Up until this date, we've not heard of any, that it's always improving. You had a sewer treatment project. We designated 2 drivers and 2 trucks to that project to where your contractor would not have to go over budget because of the amount of time. There were days we run no runs and didn't even charge the city, even though we were told by the contractor that we would have runs that day. I mean, we've worked with the city. I think we've had, WCA's had this contractor, now GFL's had this contract since 2004, which is before my time here. I tell you all that to tell you this, is that we went out for bids, the city went out for bids 11/8, and we received a copy of that bid. During that time, we spoke with staff. There was only one issue, and it was a communication issue, and it was an over-communication with some of the staff, and so we fixed that. But the service had improved so much that we had received no complaints. Sure, we get work orders every day. Sure, we may have a wheel missing from a cart. We replace it. We have had issues for almost 6 months of getting garbage cans because of the shortage of resin that makes the carts and the shortage of the supply of employees at the place where we buy the carts. Now, these carts are warranted for 10 years, so we buy high-quality stuff. Sure, you're going to have wheels fall off. Sure, those trucks slam them down sometimes. Those things kind of happen. So, with that being said, and I don't know if I'm allowed to pass out some information. I just have one sheet of paper, which is a comparison of all, can we pass that out?
Sure.
Yeah, Alan,
ahead.
would you mind? So I want to just kind of compare the bids. Now, it's my understanding, of course, you got to understand, I didn't know about this meeting until about 12:30 today. I've been, of course, we're in constant contact. John, most of the time, several times a week. Alan, at least, once every, twice a month or so. I text or I call part of the staff to make sure everything's fine, to see if there's something we need to meet on. We've not received, other than, man, it's so much better than it has. We don't have the issues. So I've handed out a piece of paper, or Alan has, thank you, Alan, to compare the prices. Now I want to just share some of these comparisons, because the staff has recommended going with another bidder. Our bid is at $10.98 per house, with your bulk waste once a month included in that price. Another company, as you can see there, bid $10.75 plus $1.25 per month for the bulk. So that's $12 compared to our $10.98. The next bid is $14.95, and that includes the bulk, which is, almost $4 higher than our bid per resident, times 3,656. So at the bottom of that number, you'll see our monthly bid is at the bottom of each one of those. And then you go down to the commercial pricing, and you can see the pricing. That's 2 yards, and that's how many we have here. I can give you the pricing if you'd like the pricing on a 2-yard one time a week or whatever. But these are the total numbers, and down here at the bottom, our total number monthly for commercial pickups, which is your businesses, it totals $30,564. But the recommendation is to go with a company that's going to charge you $43,656, which is $13,000 more than what we bid.
I think you may have these numbers backwards.
No, sir, I got all the bid sheets right here.
Yeah, from what if Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, but what we've got in our hands, central disposal should be in place of green on
Right,
on
they look
your breakdown.
transposed
That
on the
should be the
schedule.
other way around. Central disposal and green have been switched.
No, here's central disposal sheet, it's $14.95 at the top of their bid sheet. Here's ours, and here is,
Okay, I don't know what you're looking at with this. Do you guys have this same one?
Yeah.
We have the same one that was printed off the agenda, and this is the one.
I apologize, I didn't get the agenda.
Yeah.
But here's the actual bid sheets that were turned in, and I got copies of them. Yeah, see, if you'll look here, this is the,
I don't think we don't have.
yeah, see, these are the actual bid sheets. It doesn't have on there, but we took them out of the bid package per.
Yeah, we don't have that, do we?
But Green Environmentals, their bid was $10.75 and the $1.25. That's the way it was handed to us. I don't see, Alan, do you see a name on this bid sheet, on this pricing sheet? Yeah. That's Green's, yeah.
So I think we've got some.
There's some
Misinformation on
numbers
somewhere.
transposed or something.
Yeah.
But these were handed to us, and we wrote down which ones they were for each one.
Right.
Nonetheless, and if that's the case, we're still, GFL's still the lowest bidder. And I know your state law says the lowest, most responsible bid. We've studied that and we've went through that. Our figures is with the numbers that we were given at the bid opening, that wasn't the numbers that.
Who do we have here on staff that can confirm this for us, if by chance? Is Bryant here?
Bryant is ill tonight, so I don't have anybody here that was in the actual bid opening, so,
He wasn't at the bid opening
Well-
either. He was sick that day. There was a couple of female staff members there that day.
okay. We'll have to double check if you choose to go forward. We'll verify that it's accurate.
From our figures though, Central Waste, because all their stuff was handwritten. And that's it right there. All their bid was handwritten. And we took it off the handwritten notes here. And I'm just gonna share with you the difference between their bid and our bid.
Yeah, I don't think we're questioning that your numbers are wrong.
Right.
I think what we're questioning is are we comparing the appropriate companies? If we're gonna go with central disposal, we just need to know, or if that was the recommendation, we just need to confirm the price that we have on our sheet is correct with what's on this was that you guys put together. We
Yes,
just need to
sir.
confirm that they were correct. That's
Well,
what we're trying to do.
And we took it
need
straight
that
out of the
person.
bid packets that we were handed that day with each company on those bids. And from the numbers that we were given, with central disposal, you're looking at $331,000 a year more than what our bid is.
Yeah, I don't think that was the intent. On the sheet that we have, central disposal would be in place of green as far as pricing is concerned. So I think that's where the confusion is. And if that's the case, then they're about $3,000 more than what your bid is a year.
Yes,
So that's
sir.
what we're trying to,
But
I'm trying to
that's
figure
gonna be
out.
Green Environmental's bid, that's still more than ours.
yeah. We just need to confirm with staff that
And that's $3,000 a month more than we are.
whether they meant to go with green environmental or whether central disposal is the correct one and the prices are flipped. We don't know that.
Right.
So,
Well, and listen, I could be wrong. I could be wrong too. I've been wrong at least twice. I've been married that many times. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that we got these numbers right. And if it's central disposal, it's $331,000 more a year.
and I can tell you this council we would be very concerned with that. I can tell you that. But in our thoughts with the pricing structure that we got, I think I talked to Brian, we were essentially okay with a little bit of price difference if there was a difference in service.
Right.
So I think that's where we were, and the only thing that throws a wrench in this is that your numbers have the companies flipped. So I don't know, Jay, or, I'm sorry, Steve, I don't know what the best mode to go about this is, or council, but should we table this?
So, well, you can do a couple of options. Obviously, you can table it, or you can go through with the sheet that you've been provided and approve a different carrier contingent upon those numbers being correct.
Okay.
Those are the two principal options to you.
Do we have a representative from Central Disposal here?
No, I don't see.
Okay, so we can't ask them either. Okay.
Sir, and if I could ask just one question, I guess I'm still a little confused, and so you're still saying that our service isn't what you want, correct?
That is
Staffs.
from staff comments, that's from customer comments. I myself have had a few issues. I'm not only vice mayor, but also in terms of my own pickup, and I have some apartments and commercial property that was not picked up, and I ended up with a problem with trash all over my yard or property, just simply because no one would replace a lid on a dumpster. I wasn't even asking for a new dumpster. We were just simply asking for a new lid. And that alone took at least a month to get those out there. So my own problem with that is that I have to pay someone to go pick up the trash or do it myself. So those are the things that we end up, and those are things that you may not even hear about because they don't technically get reported on the Citizen Reporter app or the online. So that's some things that we're looking at that.
Well, the process is, now, is that if there's a complaint or an issue, and the city's notified, the staff sends us a work order. And within moments, we answer that, and if it's before 3, if even like a missed pickup, if it's a missed pickup and it's called in before 3, we pick it up the same day.
I can tell you that's not true.
That's not true.
We've had issues at our office. We had someone not pick up our trash, and I have emails to verify this where I emailed the water office. The trash was not picked up for 3 weeks. And that was I complain
And
every
it's a
week.
commercial dumpster?
That,
or
I have
is it a-
two- So I have a business, an insurance office.
Yes, sir.
But then we have another apartment complex, so I witnessed it on both sides of it, so I mean, and I called those in and I actually emailed them so that we have proof of what was going on, so that someone could correspond and we would have proof of it in terms of, now I didn't do it on the citizen reporter, but I did do them in terms of an email, so, I mean, I think there are a lot of complaints probably that you're gonna have that also don't get reported, whether it's a neighbor talking to another neighbor, hey, your trash didn't get picked up. Not everybody on the street's gonna call and complain if they know Dana's already called, we're not gonna call and
Sure.
complain. So, I mean, those are things you end up with as well, so I think there's a pretty good bulk of us that aren't happy. I don't know for anybody else who can,
Well,
I was
last time we voted on renewing the contract, we were looking at other people as well. And we were made some promises about how things were gonna be better. They were better for a little while, and then things started backsliding again to what they were before. And I think that's probably a reason we're getting a staff recommendation for somebody else. That's part of the reason. And that would be my reason for voting for somebody new.
and I 100% give merit to you telling us that COVID has caused us issues, it's caused everybody issues. I mean, there are people that you just can't find people to work or, you know, things to supply, we know that. But, I think that,
Corey.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't
No,
cut
you
you off.
go ahead.
Hi, my name is Dana Miller. I represent Ward 1.
Yes, ma'am.
And I too have received several constituent complaints. And before there was, I think it was this summer, there was a posting on our Facebook page when we did have comments. It was flooded with comments from all of our constituents about the issues they've had. And just on a personal note, and I would probably get in trouble with my mom if I didn't mention this. My 72-year-old mother, who just lives right outside of city limits, right now has 2 trash cans full and 4 bags of trash on the side of her trash cans, and no one will answer her phone calls to come pick up her trash. It's been 2 weeks since her trash has been picked up. So, if, you know, when elders are treated that way, when our constituents have complaints and they put their trust in us to use their dollars, not only for the lowest price, but for the best price. I believe that's why, when I looked at all the documents, I agree that, with the staff's recommendation.
Yeah. I think that's, I don't know what, go ahead. You have a comment?
I have to agree. I've had some calls that they would try to get a call in and say, we got a dumpster out here that hadn't been emptied. One of them was a restaurant in town. It was flowing over. They had more business than ever. 5 days later, they come and got it. Trash was pit all over the parking lot. You do not answer the calls. From what I've seen, and I don't know that's the real deal, but we've had a lot of complaints from not answering the call and saying, hey, we got COVID, we can't get there, but we'll get there as soon as we can. Communications is the bottom deal. You guys have not done that as far as what I've seen in my ward.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms.
And
Miller.
thank you for your coming up and holding the
You know, and I'm not
conversation.
gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna say that we, you know, that we don't have, you know, and make mistakes. But at the end of the day, you know, I mean, that's certainly not what we've been getting from some of the staff, is that we've improved since June of last year, since the meeting, and there's not been that many complaints, so, and I'm not saying that your mother, correct? That's your mother, because at the end of the day, and I apologize for that, and certainly, you know, would like to find out where she lives, but during the ice that we had this past week, our number,
2 days.
yes, sir, 2 days, on Thursday and Friday, you know, we did come out on Wednesday evening knowing that was coming in and tried to pick up most of Thursdays, and then we come in on Saturday and picked up most of Fridays. There are some streets that we couldn't get down, and I'm not gonna say, you know, I'm not gonna say we picked them all up, but I will tell you this, is that, you know, and not that we treat elderly people that way, nor do we know, but our municipalities is our number one concern, because we do have a contract with them to pick them up. And so, I mean, that's why we focused on them. This week we will have extra trucks that come. As a matter of fact, Saturday they had 3 trucks picking up, trying to pick up, you know, all the stuff that might have been extra from the days that that we did miss. But, you know, that's an act of God, and I can't answer to the restaurant, sir, but I'm not saying that it's not the truth.
You're talking about 2 days. We're talking about the last 6 months or a year and a half.
Right.
And, you know, I have a dumpster next to me. There was a house burnt down. They had a dumpster out there. The house is gone. I called and said, please pick that dumpster up. It's laying in the yard. It's been a month. Nobody's come and picked that dumpster
And that's a big
up.
roll-off dumpster?
No, it's just one of them
Small
little
little
carts.
A little cart?
Nobody come and got it. It's laying in the yard. It blows in my yard. I probably put it over in their yard. It blows back in mine. It's just the fact that communications, I think, was the problem. And that's where you need to head to.
Okay.
Someone made the comment to me that if the USPS can deliver your mail in the ice and the snow, would it not be easier for a trash truck that weighs that much to be able to maneuver on the snow just as well?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No,
sir.
they can't
That's-
stop.
I-
They're
this is-
heavy.
Somebody mentioned that
Yeah,
to
they're
me. I don't
heavy
have
and
it.
dangerous, and, you know, listen, and I get it. I mean, I totally get it. Sitting where y'all said, I totally get it, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I'm not gonna risk somebody's life, you know, with a, you know, several ton vehicle going down, and then, you know, the same person that's complaining about us not picking up her trash.
That was 2 days.
That's 2 days, yes, sir, but I mean, but he was addressing the ice, and that's what I was addressing, so no, sir, but I mean, I get it, and I get their, you know, their sentiments as well, so. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sometimes it's not all about the money, it's about the service.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's where we're at here, sir. And I appreciate you coming and
Corey,
holding your peace.
Stephanie raised her
Thank you
hand.
so
I don't
much.
know.
Yeah.
We can go ahead and take anyone, right?
Well, before we move on to something else, I wanted to ask something. Is there any way, when we know these services are gonna be interrupted like that, like the trash service or city hall's closed, I might as well throw that in there too. Is there any way we can put that out on our notification system like we do water main leaks? You know, to where people will know, you know, trash truck's not running today, they broke down, they'll pick it up, yours up tomorrow. So people will be informed and know what's going on.
I think it's a great idea, to be honest.
I mean, we put it on Facebook, but not everybody does Facebook. And I think there's a good majority of people who get those text messages.
Wait,
And
not everybody does Facebook?
if I was smart, I never would have done Facebook.
So the answer to your question is yes, we can do notifications of that sort. I can tell you that one of the not on the bid sheet type things that the staff talks about is, for example, in Shawnee during this snowstorm, Central was sending out constant notifications electronically to tell people, hey, we're not going to pick up on Thursday. We're going to do that route on Saturday. Please move your carts to the curb. It wasn't a city responsibility. The trash service took it upon themselves to do such things.
Well, I only ask for us since we do bill for it. But if somebody can notify them directly, I'm all for that too. But I'd imagine we have more contacts for them since we already have that set up within our city. But yeah,
We can do it.
Okay.
Sure can.
thank you.
Do we have any other appearance? Steph, did you have something?
Real quick, sorry. My name's Stephanie Davis. I live in Ward 1, and I just kind of had a rebut to some of the GFL comments. You guys hit on some of the things I was going to talk about, that Facebook post, that the comments got so crazy that the city even had to turn them off because there were so many complaints from the people who live here. And I also just wanted to, so that whole point was more reports and complaints happen than what are the 256 that he harbored on. And also just wanted to throw in that whenever the dumpsters are not picked up and the trash blows everywhere, you know, city resources are limited, right? And so we can't expect our city employees to continue to pick up that trash, which then means it falls to the constituents that live in the area. And I will just say that I am tired of picking up trash constantly. I don't get paid to do it. I have to take time off work, take away from my family. And even if you are the lower bid, the money that we have to spend taking out time from our city workers to pick up the trash and other constituents I would much rather pay a little bit extra for better service and not have to take the time away from my family, which I don't ever get back, ever, and none of us ever get back. And so I just would love for you to kind of take some insight from the people who live here, because that's who this council serves and who their responsibility is to. So even if you're the lowest, just please keep in mind that there are more complaints and then the responsibilities fall to us. And we would much rather pay a small premium to have better service, to not have to deal with some of the things that we've been dealing with for more than a year.
Yep. Steph, how many bags did they pick up that time? How many, do you
Oh,
remember?
oh my gosh,
There's so many.
just my team alone, I think it was 28 bags of trash. And Brianna got the whole entire city involved, and we had businesses, we had wards, we had families, and yeah, it's great for us to come together and do community service. We all love to do that, right? But we could spend our time doing better community service for our whole wards if we weren't out picking up the trash that blew around town because you didn't want to run your trucks. So I'm just saying, go council. Thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thanks.
And y'all know I don't say that often.
Brad? Brad, did you have something oh, you're good? Go ahead.
I just have one quick question. Since you have the numbers on your guys' list, do you know what the increase will be per month for residents and businesses?
Well, I did not break that down, but according to the big comparison that you did, the difference for a commercial is about $1,000 a year. So you're talking about $100 a month difference. The total, and then for I'm assuming this box with the yellow highlights is personal or residential?
That's residential and commercial together.
Okay, so that's together. So between the two, you're
That's a
looking at.
monthly, that's a monthly number.
Okay, so it's about $3,000 a month difference more than what we currently have.
For the city?
Well, if his is right, I'm just going off what was on this that he passed out, but it would, for the total for the city, that's commercial and residential combined.
Sir.
This is about
That
$3,000.
includes roll-off, so that's our industrial practice.
Right. Right. Go ahead, come on.
I'll be brief, Mr. Mayor, council. I'm with Green Environmental Services, Sean Anderson.
Great.
I live in Prague, grew up in Prague. You guys have our bid. I understand we were higher, but we talked, you brought that up. I mean, cheaper is not always better. So I just wanted to say that we appreciate the opportunity, and we're in Prague. We're not going anywhere. So you guys have our references. We have a ton of references. Our service is second to none. So if anything happens, we're here.
But while you're here, let's confirm some numbers. What was, give us your residential rate, because obviously one of the charts is wrong. We don't know which one. What was your-
My residential rate was $14.95 per house.
Okay, so ours is correct. So central disposal is the,
Central disposal was $10.75, I believe, and,
okay, so the bid,
GFL was $10.98, I believe.
you are correct.
So,
That's what we were confirming.
And if that's the case, I stand corrected, but
Okay.
we wrote down which ones was which when they gave them to us, so I wrote down.
Okay.
The handwritten as central distributor.
We just wanted to make sure, that's all.
we are a local company. I've been doing this for about 25 years. So our rates were higher, but we would provide you with a premium service, and we wouldn't make the phone not ring. That's kind of our specialty. So, and again, our references speak for themselves. I understand your mind's already made up, but we're right down the road. So if we can ever help with anything, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, are there any other appearances from the audience real quick? Did you have something? Yeah, I think, I don't know if we're gonna discuss that here. I had that to discuss myself, but I wanted to do it when we actually get on because I wanted to confirm that when we contact the company back and tell them they won the bid, that we'd also like something recycling wise. We'd like to come up with a solution with that, whether you have to charge it for us or whether you wanna provide bins. bins at certain parts of the city or something, I think we wanna cover that, but that'll have to be probably covered with the vendor we choose, cause you wanted to group those together if we can and bill them together, so, but,
Did she
yes,
want,
thank you.
did she want to make a comment?
She was just making sure we covered that. Okay. All right, thank you.
Mayor?
Go ahead.
The contract, what's, and I'm sure this is my fault for not reading it enough, but the contract is for how long? What we're talking about tonight?
I believe that was a 5-year.
5 years?
5-year.
You know, I love recycling, and, you know,
I will tell you
there's
this.
not too many people out there that will do it.
No.
I mean,
and
if it is,
I discussed this with.
you double the prices on the people that are living in Seminole. I mean, we love green, but man, they're living on a fixed income, a lot of them, and it's tough to go, because it's not gonna be anything like this price-wise.
Yeah.
My sister lives in Arkansas, and they have that, and they got 3 different containers, but they're paying like $50-60 a month
Yeah.
to do that. And we'd love to, yes, sir, we got somebody
My
here.
comment to that, I mean, just being honest, guys, Oklahoma is a terrible recycle state, and there's a reason for it. It cost us roughly twice as much to get rid of recycles.
Yes.
We went from a time that we
You
would
wanna,
get,
you wanna come to the mic real quick?
oh, sorry.
Thank you.
We went from a time when we got paid for single stream recycling. We got paid $20-25 a ton. And now we're paying, I mean, we got up to $60-70 a ton here in the last year, paying.
You have to
So
pay it, you don't get nothing back.
No, we're paying, not
Correct.
getting a rebate.
That's
People-
what I
people-
understand.
People think you're making money off of it. We're
you're
paying
not.
2 to 3 times what it costs, for disposal. And
It
it's all about
costs more
trucking.
to
It's all about,
recycle than it does to garbage.
it's all about getting it somewhere, right? Where do you take it? And once you truck it,
Right.
single stream, it's hard to manage because a lot of it's contaminated.
Yeah.
If you had to
So-
guess, what would you say it would cost per month for a residential user in Seminole to pay for that kind of service for recycling?
You're gonna have to dump every load in Oklahoma City, we would, at Batliner. So I'm gonna say just as much, if not more, probably a little more than what residential garbage service
Yeah.
would be. So
Okay.
you could basically over double your rate to provide recycling. It's sad, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
We were anticipating about $8 a month if we went recycling,
Yeah.
but
So it's
yours
more
is
than
even
that.
higher
There's just,
than that.
there's just nowhere to get rid of it, and the loads are so light, they don't weigh anything, the loads are so light, you can't control it, I mean, you got residents that do great, that are in it, you know, and there's no contamination, but it doesn't take very much contamination to run a whole load. So, 10 people out of 300 or 400 houses, I mean, that ruins you, because the load either gets rejected, or you get penalized.
It's not the garbage or whatever you're taking, it's the transportation, and it's, you got 3 dumpsters out there, and you just can't pick one up and dump it in. You've got 3 different trucks coming
You gotta
by.
run separate trucks.
Yeah, I've looked at it.
Yeah.
And I got my sister's bill in Arkansas, and it's crazy. Now, if you have a bunch of people that's gonna go in at the recycling and do it for free, you know, the old people that like to do community service, that's what they do down there, and it cheapens it a lot, but it's still double.
It's still, when you truck it, I mean, you guys look what,
Right.
fuel's $4 a gallon, almost $4 a gallon right now. You start hauling it, it doesn't weigh anything.
Right.
So when you haul it, I mean, it's tough. It's really tough.
I understand that.
And there's just so many landfills in Oklahoma, disposal's cheaper in this state and a lot of surrounding states. So that makes it even tougher. Because when you start talking about doubling somebody's garbage bill or more, nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
I have a question for you then, since
Thank you for that
since I guess we're
information.
discussing this agenda item now.
I know, we are. We need to move on to, actually, thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Do we want to wait? I have a question for him. Do we want to
Yeah,
wait? Okay.
Let's go ahead and do this.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get it started. That way we
Yeah.
can get it. Let's go ahead and go to bids since we're on the subject already, but consideration and possible action to approve acceptance of the bid from Central Disposal of Shawnee, Oklahoma for collection and disposal of solid waste within the city of Seminole as recommended by city staff. So we don't have Bryant here, but I did talk to him on the phone. I don't know if any of you other ones talked to him, but this was his recommendation as well as, I think you guys are
Yeah,
on
we've
board with
we've
that.
staffed it over and over. you know, you guys hit on all the points. We've had a tremendous amount of complaints, and it has gotten better. The question is that something we can trust going forward, and is their equipment gonna hold? I mean, we've had a lot of times where the equipment didn't hold, and they're bringing hand-me-downs from other places and putting it in play. We just felt as a staff that paying a little bit more overall is probably gonna get us a better service, and ultimately that there is a difference between what the price of something is and what it actually costs you. And Stephanie put it very well, that the cost is not just what are we paying to pick that up, it's what are we paying people to go behind and clean it up and take care of the things that maybe another person or another service is gonna do better. Perhaps they won't, but we just felt as a staff that it maybe was a time for a fresh look at things.
Dana, did you have a comment or question?
No, I just wanted to ask a little bit on the recycling piece. On the bid, it looks like this is maybe the criteria that we put out in the bid. Did we ever, or have we ever included recycling?
Yes, so originally we released it with recycling, and then we issued an addendum to take it out. And it's precisely what he was just talking about. It looked to us that at a minimum, it was gonna cost $8 a month more, and we weren't about to bring that to you guys and put that on you, because if in fact we're talking about another $11 a month, you're doubling garbage on residents. Many of them are fixed income, and we just didn't feel that that was something that we were ready to propose to the council. If you wish, we can, at some point, we would like to go back and maybe select a recycling company to get bids from. But right now, we've got garbage in front of us. The reason, and frankly, this is, it's much harder to do than it seems like it is. Our staff makes it look very easy, but it's not. Because we started in November trying to get ready for this July. We have to, if you select another service, they have to order trucks. You know what the backlog is on anything. He mentioned polycarts. They have to have enough time to put things in place so that when we switch in July, that we've got a service in play. So that's the only urgency I can think of in terms of passing it tonight, contingent upon these bids being correct. And we will go back, and probably I won't be able to go to sleep until I know, but we'll go back and verify that to be factual before we sign up on anything.
I think it's pretty much confirmed. I think with him giving his price and then him telling, I think we're okay, but.
Two things.
I'll add one more question.
Are the routes gonna stay the same? I'm sorry.
Yeah, just one more. So Steve, going back to the recycling question, you know, you said the $8 you were anticipating that would have been kind of, you know, maybe the limit that we could even.
Minimum.
And then we hear, minimum, then we hear maybe it would be doubled. And those prices, we're talking about those being put on the customers, the constituents. Is there an opportunity in the future where we could have a budget that would consider the city taking on that cost as opposed to passing it on directly to, I know in a roundabout way, taxes go back to our constituents anyway,
Yes,
right?
indeed.
But could that be worked into the budget? Would that be something that we could entertain in the future? Why are you smiling at me?
Because I work for you. What you tell me to do is exactly what I'm going to do.
I think it may be more feasible to start with a recycling spot or center where you can go drop that stuff off to start. Maybe that'd be more cost effective to begin with.
Mhm.
And once it picks up, maybe you can turn it over to the individual households or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a thought, but
Yeah.
at least it'll give you somewhere to throw.
That's how it started in my sister's town. They had, and then it was all voluntary, and then they had so much people taking it to them, they said, hey, we need to do something about that, and then that's where it happened. But so you're right on, you know, this can have a voluntary place. If it goes, then we'll look at it. No, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
kind of where I'm at.
I like that
So-
idea. What can we do to move that forward?
So just to give you a number to shoot for, we projected that would be in the neighborhood of $300,000 a year to do out of our budget. If the citizens didn't have any recycling increase, it would be about, well, over 300. That was minimum, 300,000, so.
Steve, when you get that 300,000, is that for kind of full service recycling, or is it just paper? Is it just plastic? Is it glass? Is it all of them? What would that be? And I don't know enough about recycling to know if you
Paper,
can.
glass, plastic is what we were looking at.
Is there a way to do it cheaper and just do one maybe to get us started?
I think that's probably be our recommendation, is just get something back
Do
from
some
the vendor we
research on
choose
it.
and let us know what their options are for
Don't
that.
forget cardboard and aluminum too. I mean, those are recyclable.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely cardboard.
And
We
if
have a
I
cardboard
may-
issue.
if I may real quick, on the timeline, let me just say this, I mean, y'all have pretty well made up your mind if you hadn't voted yet, but, you know, we've had a relationship here for 18 years. We're not gonna leave behind that. So, I mean, if the other company has issues with getting carts, you know, certainly we'll work something out with the city to help until they get their car. Well, I mean, we're not gonna leave behind dry, so.
Thank you.
Don't think that we're just gonna up and just, you know, just.
Thank you,
run out
Stubby.
of it.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Chris, you had,
This is good business, you know.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right. You never know what the future holds.
Chris, you had something.
Oh, that's okay. I was just curious as it would affect, you know, that actual residents. Are, two things. Are our routes basically gonna stay the same days? And number two, are the poly carts gonna be the same size? I mean, I think they're pretty similar, but I just wanna,
With the new service?
yeah.
I
Yes.
believe so, yes.
Okay.
Did you?
Say that
think
again,
that
Chris,
was-
I'm sorry.
I was just curious if our routes will stay the same with the new company and if our poly carts are gonna be roughly the same size, or a little smaller, a little bigger, you know,
It's roughly the same, yes.
okay. That's all I have.
Now, in terms of the routes, I don't know the answer to that. We're gonna,
Once a week.
yeah, I mean, they're
Still once a
they're just committing to once a week.
I figured that.
I
hope
can't,
so.
I can't promise that Bobby is gonna be your driver every week, so.
Yeah, if
I
it's not
think-
once a week, then we're gonna have double the size of poly carts.
I think I'd gear Brian, or I think I'd gear him that direction, because that would be a catastrophe to change, and then no one knows the day their trash runs, and it's just gonna look like the new
Oh, you're
company's
talking
not
about the
doing their
day
part
of
to take
pickup?
care of the week.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
I think that would be part of my recommendation,
We
is
got
to
a
leave
newspaper.
it the same, so.
yeah. So let me back up and correct myself. I told you 5 years. It's actually 3 years.
Okay.
And we come back every year and renew it, so it's a 3-year,
For a year.
3-year deal.
So we could change it next year if we didn't like it, okay? Works for me.
3 one-year periods.
All right,
Three
anybody
one-year
have a recommendation? I don't.
I have just one more question.
Okay.
Sorry. Steve, and again, in the quotes, and I guess maybe this is a conversation I should have had with you before we got to this point, but maybe for the future one. I see on E, on the schedule of quotes that you gave us, it says once a quarter, citywide cleanup has 3, they quoted at 3 free roll-offs at specific sites. Is that
Yes.
where we put the big giant bins out that are like half of the size of this room? Is there a way maybe in the future that we could maybe make that more frequent or more sites? So for example,
can-
like what Stephanie had mentioned, we just have so much trash in this town. I was just picking up trash on my street 2 days ago, walking up down the street picking up trash. And then when I'm doing that, I see a lot of residential areas that have furniture in their yard, or and they don't really have a place to maybe drive to go pick those or drop those off, or a pickup truck or something. But I just think, in my mind, I was thinking if we had more of a frequency of these type of things, if we had more of them, we could schedule maybe our own ward city cleanup and help, get these people, get their yards cleaned up and these type of things. So is there an opportunity again in the future to increase and ask these providers to give us just a little bit more frequency, maybe some more bins, roll-offs, or carts, or whatever they're called.
I'm
For the
assuming they
citywide.
would do it more, probably charge you the price of the
Of course.
cart itself.
So
It would be
th-
free.
there's a couple of things that I
Well,
need
that would
to
be something to take into consideration.
There you go. Yep.
Couple of things on that. First of all, I like the way you're thinking. We want it cleaned up. Second thing is, if the bulk trash is done properly, that should not happen. The third thing I would say, and I know Stubby and his crew will verify, that when we take that 3-container deal,
Not full?
60% of the waste that's dropped there comes from outside the city limits.
Yeah.
They are waiting on the day when we can open that up, and they're bringing everything in their kitchen sink, literally, in the dump. And part of the reason is because we do have bulk waste. You're supposed to be able to set that on the curb, and the next the first full week in a month is supposed to be picked up. I know, I've gotten all the complaints on it, that doesn't always happen, but ideally, that is going to happen, so there wouldn't be necessarily that huge need for that bulk waste. So perhaps, we're gonna give these folks a shot to correct the bulk waste issue and be able to pick that up regularly, so that one time where we have those 3 dumpsters, it's gonna be minimal from in town. We'll still fill them up because a lot of that is coming from outside the city limits.
What's
Thank you.
the process for notifying citizens of their bulk pickup day? Is it just on the website? Is it printed on the?
Newspaper, Facebook is principally what we're doing, newspaper and Facebook.
I like the idea
Put
of putting
a-
on the water bill.
Can we put a fluorescent colored schedule in the water bill, and when they open the sucker up, they're like, wow, I put my trash out this week or something?
I'd be
I don't
fine with a
know.
notification for that too. Once a month, I could handle that this week, or send it out on Sunday saying
One of
this
those
week is
two.
bulk pickup. You know,
One of those two would be, I just want the word to get out, that's all, because that will alleviate the bulk that ends up in those containers, so
Yeah.
that may help first. We may alleviate a lot of our problems that way.
And I have noticed, though, the bulk that you can leave on your curb, I've done it myself, and it has to be in a bag, it has to be in a certain position, you can only have so many, and to me, if you put it in a bag, it's not bulk.
I don't do it because I'm afraid it'll get left there.
Yeah.
Tim Poplin will say something to me about the trash in my yard, so.
You can take it, can you not take it to the county barn? They have dumpsters out there.
No.
Can't do it anymore.
I took mine out there.
Where's Moon at?
So
Citation.
it was you?
The gate was open.
No,
Wow.
no.
Okay, I'll shut up.
Too much. All right, do we have a motion?
Who am I?
Does anybody have, or is he, are we done discussing? I don't want to get someone with a question not answered.
motion to approve.
Second.
With the contingency that that's the correct price, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
We'll verify.
all right. We have a motion, roll call, Jay?
Corey Crabtree,
Yes.
Tim Poplin,
Yes, sir.
Dana Miller,
Yes.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, with no other items on the Seminole Municipal Authority, I'll ask for an adjournment. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? All right. Moving on to the regular city council meeting. Can we have a roll call, please, Jay?
Tim Poplin,
Here.
Corey Crabtree,
Here.
Larry Church, Trace Connor.
Here.
Chris Anson,
Here?
Eddie Foreman, Dana Miller,
Here.
John Kramer. Jeff Griffin. We have a quorum.
All right, if everyone will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Honor the flag. Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I've asked Chris Hansen to do our invocation for this evening.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the city of Seminole, its people, and all those who continue to work, play, and live here. Thank you for those who persevere to make our city shine. We ask that you bless this meeting and our discussions and guide us in our decisions. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
You may be seated.
Thank you.
Consideration and action of consent agenda.
So moved.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Tim Poplin.
Yes, sir.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Trace Connor. Chris Anson.
Yes.
Dana Miller.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, with no items removed from the consent agenda, are there any appearances or petitions from the audience? Jackie? Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
My name is Jackie Gill, and I live at 2508 Dynall in Ward 3. I just wanted to take the time to, well, right now, to talk about something that's on the agenda for number 8. So whenever you guys get to that, y'all can go ahead and just ask questions. Now, I got a kiddo at home. I'm trying to get out of here.
That's all right.
So the Arts Council has an event coming up in April, and we're doing, since it's Autism Awareness Month, we're doing a 4K and a fun run and just a little event for people just to come out and have some fun, you know, outdoor games, music, art, vendors, food, stuff like that, you know, and we want to close the street. We want to do it right out here in front of the municipal building, and we still have to see the Parks Board and get another permit for the event itself. But just as far as closing the street, I just wanted to make sure you guys didn't have any questions about what we were doing. So, that's all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Trace was wanting to know how far is a 4K? He can only run so far.
He's got a skateboard, he'll make it.
I don't know if I could run a quarter K.
Do we have anybody else for Seminole City Council? Any appearances from the audience?
That's a good one.
All right, we'll move on to approvals and acceptances. Item 1, consideration and possible action to approve ordinance number 1261, an ordinance granting Summit Utilities Oklahoma Incorporated, its successors and assigns, for a period of 25 years from approval and acceptance of this ordinance, a non-exclusive franchise, and providing for the submission of this ordinance to an election of qualified voters of the city of Seminole. I was briefed on this earlier by Steve, so I don't know if any of you guys have briefed on this or know what this is, but I'll let him quickly.
So Summit was the company that purchased CenterPoint, and I think they've been in control a year or more. And now they are coming back to us to renew the franchise that was passed, I believe, in 1996. So this is to continue the operations for the natural gas. Doesn't have anything to do with fiber or anything else. I can tell you that we are pleased at a staff level that they've spent a tremendous amount of money with B&H. You've seen the contractors everywhere through Seminole over the last couple of years upgrading the natural gas delivery system. So we're pleased, and we're recommending that it be passed. I don't. Yes, the voters, of course, will have to vote on it. That's a corporation commission requirement, so the voters have to go through and pass it.
Gotcha.
That's a statewide vote or
Just
just a
City.
city vote?
Motion to approve?
Roll call, please, Jay.
Tim Poplin.
Yes, sir.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Dana Miller.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I'm going to go backwards for a minute because they just pointed out that I missed something. Under appointments and elections, consideration and possible action to approve the mayoral reappointment of Marcy Donahoe to the Tourism Board.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a question. Sorry, this isn't about the appointment. The tourism board, do we know how many people are on it? Who are on,
I believe there are 9,
9?
and two of those are appointees of the city, and I sit on it as a ex officio voting member.
Okay. So 2 are from this body? No, none are from this body, but appointed by the,
Appointed by the mayor.
Okay,
That's
okay.
correct.
that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion? We
And
have
a second.
Okay, roll call, Jay.
Tim Poplin,
Yes, sir.
Corey Crabtree,
Yes.
Trace Connor,
Yes.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
Dana Miller,
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thanks for pointing that out, brother. All right, we're gonna go back to item 2. Consideration and possible action to approve the emergency clause associated with ordinance number 1261. So we're just doing this so we can get it on the ballot, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Tim Poplin.
Yes, sir.
Corey Crabtree,
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
Dana Miller,
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, on to number 3. Consideration and possible action to approve ordinance number 1262, an ordinance amending Title VI, Court, Chapter 1, Municipal Court, Section 6128, Cost and Administrative Fees of the City of Seminole Code by allowing for a collection fee of 35% of the amount of unpaid fines or cost if contracting with a collection agency for the collection thereof.
Well, this is a big deal. For several years, we asked Tommy Mackey to work warrants, and he did a pretty good job of tracking down that there are professionals out there that do it on a regular basis. And so Jay has found us somebody that he feels good about. The real problem is we've got about $800,000 in uncollected fees. So what we're talking about doing is bringing someone in that will do a collection service for us and hopefully get a substantial, and that $800,000, I should mention, is 10 years or newer. So we felt like that was a good way to start. Is it collectible? If it's 10 years or newer, we're putting it on there. They can go after it. So much has happened past 10 years that we don't know that that's really collectible. So it's worth a shot. I think it's going to be
Better than nothing.
right.
It's dead in the water right now without any.
That's right.
action on it, so.
Where's most of the fines or whatever they're trying to collect? Is it heavy on one side or what?
Grass and tall weeds. Just kidding.
Well, yeah.
That's broad.
Over there on John Street, it's
Carson.
Carson, come on, you got it wrong, man.
no.
Johnny Carson.
Look, if you looked at it, if we had Sean map it, it'd be just everywhere. It's a shotgun blast. I mean, it's just, and there are various types of warrants that are out. None of it seems unreasonable. There are, you could fill at least half of that back wall with the warrants that she has in her office. So Susie's here to answer any questions you have about the warrants. She's our superstar in the court office, and so if you have any specific questions, we can probably direct them to her.
I think you'll be very pleased if this collections, we had to turn in a couple for insurance reasons, believe it or not, for people not paying premium, but it was so much easier just to give them the information, and that's their job, to call them, to chase them down, go find them at work, serve them, whatever they had to do. And we were shocked that we collected on all those, so it worked out really well for us. So, but I think it's a good thing. We're not gonna get any of it otherwise, so you might as well try. So,
Well, so my question is the 35%, the collection fee, so help me walk through this scenario. So I'm Dana, I get a $100 ticket. I don't pay it, can't pay it, probably, we talked about, a lot of people we serve in the high rate of poverty in this city, a lot of people can't pay it. So, are we adding on the 35% to that $100 fine? So now they owe $135?
Correct.
So they couldn't pay $100 before, and now we're gonna expect them to pay $135.
Oh, I thought it
You had to-
came out of, I thought it came out of the $100, like,
No, let Susie tell.
Here you go, she came, come and tell us.
You gotta realize too that a lot of these warrants are people that come through here, get a ticket and just leave
Just
and,
never come
oh, they'll
back.
never pay it. We don't have to pay that. I'll never be back through here. And so they choose not to pay it. But I'll say this on behalf of that concern, because I know we see that every day in city court. Judge Cadenhead is very, very accommodating to people, and I've seen every month people come in and pay $5 on their fine. As long as you're making an effort, you know, he's really, really, I think, very lenient. As long as they're making an effort, I know that Susie works with them daily. Judge Cadenhead lets people, you know, miss a month, things of that nature. So, yes, I mean, that is something I think that we're probably more accommodating than most places that I've practiced in front of. I believe so.
The people that are making an effort are not gonna be on this list. We're talking, we set up payment plans that are minimal. Where you can fill half that wall, the payment plans could fit in this chair. I mean, they're not a tremendous volume. It's the folks that are just ignoring it that we're trying to
They
go
don't
after.
even try.
So the 35% will be levied on just specific people?
You might tell how it
Either
works.
all.
She's got a good.
Just the ones that get turned
any
over.
accounts you turn over to them should have that fee on there, correct?
Any accounts that we turn over to the collection agency will have a 35% fee added, which will go to the company. So you're correct, if they have a $100 fine / warrant, now they will owe $135. That 35% will go to Aberdeen.
Okay, thank you for that. Do they have an option where they can take a percentage of what they collected as opposed to levying that onto the individual, which again, if they can't pay 100, they're definitely not gonna pay 135. Is there an opportunity where they can take 10% of what they collect and?
It's a state statute that allowed us to do this.
Yeah,
Yeah, that changed.
it's safe.
Say that again?
Right, so okay, so we addressed this maybe a year ago or 2 years with the police department at the time when Chief Hansen was here, and we did not go forward with it. It was fairly new at the time, but I understand it was a change in the state legislature allowing up to the 35% to be charged on delinquent warrants. And when I say delinquent, there is a process we go through to collect them. And I think what Steve's talking about, the small section and the large section, the small section are the payment plans. Is that not correct, Susie?
Correct.
So we have people coming in, they can pay out these warrants, they can pay however they need to by cash, credit card, or whatever. But when all else fails, then they're out there and we don't have a warrant officer or any other way to collect them. So that's why this agency, we're looking at using them, and that is the 35% fee. So the amount that we have already charged them, as Susie explained, that 35% would be added to that, but we collect it. So instead of $100, we would be collecting $135, and then the agency bills us for the 35.
For the
But she's
35.
asking, can we cut a deal?
No, that's what
And
I'm,
say $50 instead of the.
no, that's what I'm saying. That is by statute, and this is the way that it's supposed to work. And they wrote the ordinance for us, gave us a copy that we could use as a format that other cities are using as well.
When you
Yeah.
said they, that means the,
State legislature.
no, the
Aberdeen.
company,
Aberdeen,
the
right.
collection company,
Right.
not the state. So you said state statute allows us to go up to 35% and levy that fee on the individual, correct? Okay, so I understand that. What I'm asking is there another option where instead of doing that, going that route, can we say, we're gonna pay a collection agency, they can keep 10% of everything that they collect?
Okay, I'm not sure if, we cannot take less than what they owe us now. So we cannot pay a percentage of what that is owed on the warrant. We have to add an additional amount to it.
So if it's $100 and then they come after me for 100, in
They
this
cannot take
option,
part of our $100, that's
then
right.
we would get 90, right? If I'm
No.
saying 10%, you're saying we can't, the option for us to get 90 is not possible.
Correct, the option is not possible.
Got it, okay.
I think what it was designed to do was not cost the municipalities any money. Most of these, now, you correct me if I'm wrong, because I remember we've tried every way in the world to go back 10 years and look at all these, but a lot of these, and I'll probably say a lot, probably the majority of these, people that don't even have any intent on paying whatsoever, they've come through here, they've gotten a ticket, they've moved on, they've left. We don't even know where they're at. So this company, and you were telling me about this, so I'm putting you on the spot, Susie. You were telling me that this company does everything. They try to locate where they live. They all the mail, anything that is associated with finding them, mailing them notice of the warrant, all of that, the phone calls, the email, all that cost is assumed by Aberdeen. Costs us nothing, but their cost is absorbed with the additional $35. Is that right? 35%, excuse me. And then you were saying, I think you were telling me there was some other, the collection results, the percentages were really almost pretty impressive with some of the cities that were using this, or?
Yes, they have a very good rate of collecting, especially with warrants. Seminole County does not use them, but Potawatomi County uses them. Tecumseh Municipality, I believe she said Asher, Kanawha, they all use Aberdeen to collect on their past due warrants. Because it's not just a Seminole problem, it's a every municipality problem to collect on past due warrants. But you have people who, honestly, they're just gonna pay it, there's not a problem, but we have a vast majority of people who are not going to pay unless they're forced to do so. And we don't have the means. I can't do a deep skip trace, and that's what they do. They do a deep skip trace, which I don't even know exactly what that entails, but they find you, and they call, they send letters, they're on them all the time. And what I do like about Aberdeen is that their literature says that they want to treat everyone with respect. And that's what our office wants. We're not trying to be mean to people. We want to treat everyone with respect, but at the same time, you do owe a fee. You have pled guilty, you need to pay your fee if you've pled or been found guilty. So, and that's what I like about Aberdeen, is that they're very, they treat
Should we
everyone.
mention how much we have outstanding in warrants, just so they'll know?
As of
800,000.
today,
800.
as of today, there was 3,676 outstanding warrants for our municipality, and the total was $900,668. That's up today.
And that's within the last 10 years?
That is 10 years. Everything after 10 years, we drop the warrant. We do not drop the fee. They're still there. And Aberdeen can go back. They'll go back as far as you want them to. So I can turn in anything that's over 10 years old, and they'll try.
What's
And-
our oldest?
I don't know. I don't know that.
It doesn't
far.
cost anything unless they collect, is that correct?
Correct. It doesn't cost.
It don't cost us nothing.
They
Yeah,
just
right.
take their fee.
You know, can I have speak, Mayor? Associate Mayor
Vice.
or Vice Mayor, okay. Vice Mayor.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about it is, I don't care if you're a millionaire or you can't pay your bills or whatever. When you're driving through town and you see a 35-mile-an-hour speed sign and you drive 50, what difference does that make? You're breaking the law. And, you know, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm a realist. And, you know, if you don't have a lot of money to pay a fine, you need to slow down. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm all about it.
Just for knowledge, I know we offer payment plans, but once these get turned over to Aberdeen, they'll be in Aberdeen's possession. So we can't do anything with that warrant as far as offering them a pay plan, correct? They have to go to Aberdeen?
Correct.
Do
Now,
they themselves have pay plans, or do we know that? I was just curious, I don't.
Aberdeen does work out
Oh,
pay
yeah.
plans
Okay, so
with
there's,
people.
so they've got help both directions, it's just it won't be with us if you waited that
They
long to take care
can
of it.
come in and pay me, but it is recommended to go through Aberdeen if they're wanting to make a payment plan. Now, if they walk in with $1,000 cash and they want to pay it all off right now, we're going to take their $1,000 cash. We're not letting that get out of our hands. But if they want a payment plan, it's recommended that Aberdeen recommends that we might have them go through them, because they will be able to follow up with those payment plans. And when they haven't made the payment, 3 days later, they're giving them a call. They're sending them a letter. They're
Yeah.
sending them an email. Whereas we just put a warrant back on it.
I think they do that so they can avoid the fees once it's actually to that point. But I don't know what kind of agreement we're signing, but I know if you go to the hospital and try to pay your bill at the hospital that's in collections, they tell you to call the collection agency and they're not taking your money. So I mean, I don't know if in our agreement, if we take money and then they don't get their fee,
We will take their
that just
fee
takes
as
money
well.
out of their, okay. Just making sure we were doing that, because I
So-
don't want to be in odds with somebody who's going to collect money for us.
And I just want to make this clear, I mean, to everyone, I cannot, really, I can't overemphasize the fact of how much we work with people. I
Yeah.
mean, even the recommendations that I make, I'm always, can you pay this? If not, okay, let's set you up on a payment plan. And then Susie is there in every court docket, and the judge, and they have them fill out a form, and the judge will always ask them, how much can you afford to pay on this? Is that too much? Can you pay this amount? And sure, and they'll sit down, they fill it out. And those are the people that really, for the most part, seem to stick with it. What about the ones that just don't show up to court? They get their ticket and just don't even appear. We put out a warrant, I didn't even ask you about that. What?
Standard procedure is that if you sign the ticket or you sign an OR, released on your own recognizance, then we will put a warrant on you, and we will also give you a failure to appear charge, which is extra.
If you don't show up.
If you don't show up. If we do not have proof, if they didn't sign the ticket and they did not sign an OR, and there's just certain circumstances where that happens, then we don't put a failure to appear, we still put a warrant. So Judge Cadenhead has said that if they do not show up for court and there's proof that they signed the ticket or they signed an OR, then we'll send them to collection.
Right.
Because they knew they were supposed to be in court.
Right.
If we don't have proof, we probably will not send that. Because we don't have proof that they actually knew they were in court. We have to have proof. We have to have certified letters and those types of things. And all collections, so that'd be 60 days after you didn't show up for court. Because we have a lot of people that call in the next week saying, oh my goodness, I had court, I just forgot. So we don't want to penalize those people. If you're going to call us in 60 days, we're going to work with you. People who are on these payment plans, repeated people who are on the payment plans, 30 days, they're going to go to collections, and we're not going to deal with them. We're going to let Aberdeen take care of those.
I think that's okay.
So
I mean, especially for repeats.
So I have a comment, and I do agree with your comment. I'm not a champion of crime at all, believe me. I would love to slap $35 fee on all those people who don't stop at the stop sign in front of my house. What I guess my concern is that when you talked about a millionaire or someone who's in poverty, the justice system touches people who are in poverty more on a daily basis. And so my concern is that this 35% is going to target or is going to penalize these folks who are already struggling. And I appreciate that the court does make those payment arrangements. I just wish there was some type of guarantee that they make those arrangements across the board with everyone who walks in the door. I don't know. I don't know how that works. So that's where my concern is that we find an alternative, or at least I know we can statutorily go up to 35%, but do we have to go to 35? Can we find a medium that maybe is?
That's what they offer.
That's what they do, yes. That
I'm
is
sorry.
their-
In order to do it, that's what they're.
Right. It
I'm
can-
sorry, say that again, 35% is what?
That's their fee. That's what they'll come to Seminole and do this for 35%.
They won't do it for anything less.
That wasn't offered, no.
No, he said
Is
that's,
there, is there another company that would do it for less?
There may be, there are not a lot of these, there are not a lot of choices there, but there could possibly be, I can't say there aren't on, and this is a little bit different than, they also offer services that would address our, late payments in the water office. We do not have a collection agency for those. However, those are under federal guidelines, and he said that was a lot different. The collections are generally less, and he didn't feel it could be worthwhile based on what we have outstanding in that area.
Because when just at the 800 and then you presented a $900,000 amount, which I didn't write down, but at 35% at 800, they stand to make $280,000.
Well, he
off of
told
this.
us that anything, the 10 years or less, probably a 10% rate, I think he said, because of deaths, you know, various reasons, people are difficult to locate. The ones that are most current, then maybe up to a 30% collection rate on those. So you can't really take the 800,000 and apply the 35. You see what I'm saying? It's, the longer out they are, the less chance we have of collecting them, obviously.
This was the rate that I was charged. I'll just tell you, that's pretty, collection agencies are just, I don't care who it is, they're killers. I don't know what it is. I guess, I don't know what it takes to run one. I don't know how many people it takes to make those phone calls and all the tracing softwares and things you must have to buy. I don't know. But mine was 35%. So,
Well, and that's what the other
Don't break the
counties,
law, you don't have
I mean,
a
they're
problem.
they're paying that fee, correct?
Correct.
So,
Don't break the law, you don't have a problem.
okay, we have any other? Thank you, Susie, I appreciate it. I'm glad to have you in that position. I feel like you're stern, but still nice about it, so.
Thank you.
Corey?
Thank you.
That's a compliment,
Thank you.
believe it or not.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion on this from anyone?
Move to approve. Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Tim Poplin.
Yes, sir.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Dana Miller.
No.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, in conjunction with that, we need to do item 4, which is consideration and possible action to approve the emergency clause associated with ordinance number 1262.
Does this qualify for the emergency clause?
We just talked about that. I'm not really certain that I would recommend the emergency clause in this case. I think it would be probably not according to statute.
Might make us look a little greedy too. I
Yeah,
guess, huh?
I don't think that we need to do that. This can go into effect 30 days from now.
So we just need to strike that?
I think you need to.
No action.
There's no action or.
Okay, we're gonna take no action on that then. All right. Moving on to resolutions. Consideration,
I think it would be, I think you need to go ahead
do we need a
and
vote?
take a vote to take no action, yeah.
All right, so we can have
A motion to take no action.
Second.
a roll call, Jay.
Tim Poplin.
Yes, sir.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Trace Connor. Chris Anson.
Yes.
Dana Miller.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, now we can move on. To resolutions, consideration and possible action to approve resolution number 2022-01, a resolution calling for and giving notice to the Secretary of Seminole County Election Board of a special election in the city of Seminole, Oklahoma, and authorizing the mayor to sign and issue an election proclamation.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Tim Poplin.
Yes, sir.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Dana Miller.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, item 6, consideration and possible action to approve resolution number 2022-02, a resolution appropriating funds concerning the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, funding to the city of Seminole. Steve, you want to elaborate on this?
Yes, sir. So you'll recall that we will get 2 allocations under the ARPA money, both of which will be $614,000. We received one of those allocations, and the ARPA money in this case is designed to be spent on sewer, water, and fiber optics, okay? Or any of the combination thereof. So we've allocated a little bit of it, and what we're asking for tonight is that you allocate the remaining $264,000 to be spent on water and sewer expenditures. So what our plan is similar to what we talked about last month, that we plan on going out and buying as much pipe, specifically water pipe, but we may end up with some sewer needs during this time. But we would like to allocate the remaining $264,000 of the first allocation of 614.
That was budgeted?
That's what you're doing now, is setting it up so that it can be spent.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Tim Poplin.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Trace Connor. Chris Anson.
Yes.
Dana Miller.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, on to current business. Item 7, consideration and possible action to approve the contract with Aberdeen Enterprises Second Incorporated to provide collection services for the City of Seminoles Municipal Court for a fee of 35% of any unpaid fines or costs at no cost to the city. It's just basically what we've already.
Yeah, you set it up in an ordinance to allow yourselves to do it. Now you're implementing.
Approving the
Right.
contract.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Tim Poplin.
Yes, sir.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Dana Miller.
No.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, on to item 8, consideration and possible action to approve a request from the Seminole Arts Council to close Main Street between Evans and Seminole on Saturday, April 9th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. for events Second Saturday and Autism Awareness 4K and Fun Walk.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Tim Poplin.
Yes, sir.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Dana Miller.
Yes.
John Kramer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, we're going to move on to remarks. I'll go first, I guess, since I'm in this position this week. But I just want to say thanks to everybody for coming out tonight. They've already left, but we still have CBEC here with the fiber. But probably should have done our comments earlier. But
Yeah, I know.
just
Sorry
real,
about that. You mind if we give a quick update for y'all?
you
or-
guys mind?
You're the man.
Yeah, go ahead. Give us a quick update if you don't mind.
So, we have definitely got the ball rolling. We've gotten, all the engineering started and everything like that. So we're gung ho, with this project of bringing the fiber to the city, just like what we had talked about. Y'all are talking about your ARPA funds. We are going to be requesting the grant here in March. And so we would love for the city to at least consider, as y'all have discussed previously, any kind of in-kind, contribution that y'all can do as a part of that. And of course, we'll continue to give y'all updates as we go along. The engineering should be getting wrapped up here probably in about the next 30, 45 days. And then we'll be plowing forward. I don't know if that needs to be on the next agenda from the in-kind conversation. But we'll be submitting that grant process in submission probably around the middle of March. And so we'd love to be able to include y'all's support as a part of that, as that will definitely increase the odds of the state granting that application. So y'all have any questions for me? I mean, I know we're still early in this project and apologize, missed it on the first go around here.
Yeah, if you will, I don't know that I have met you personally outside of here, but for those who haven't, if you will, just get an email off to the wards or something, just introducing yourself and just giving us a point of contact maybe that we could ask those questions. If we get home and think about something that we could reply back and just get that information, that would be appreciated.
Most definitely. I'll have that out to you tomorrow.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate everybody coming up. I appreciate everyone showing up. We had a pretty good crowd tonight, so that was awesome. And for me to have to do this the first time, I'm appreciating everybody being nice to me, so.
You did a great job.
Thank
You did
you.
a great job.
Let's move on to Ward 1. We don't have Larry Church here tonight, but we do have Dana Miller, so you want to start with your comments?
Sure. I'd like to welcome everyone to Ward 1. Thanks for being here, especially all the folks in the audience who, and our guests for giving up their evening and getting involved. I think our city would just be in so much better shape if everyone did that, so thank you. I don't have, there wasn't a whole lot of activity last month. I do want to say thank you to the city staff who, and not just the roads people, but, emergency responders, our frontline folks who handle everything so well during the storm that we had last week. There was one night I was sitting nice and cozy in my home, and it was snowing, and I could hear sirens going on outside, and my first thought was, these folks, someone needs help, and they're getting it, which is, we've heard from our budget discussions previously that that's getting harder and harder to come by. But I just wanted to thank our frontline folks for all of the work that they do. Appreciate you. And I think that's all I have. Not a whole lot going on this month.
Thank you. John Kramer, Ward 2. All right, and we are missing Eddie Foreman. Tim Poplin. in the
I
great
just
Ward
want to
3.
say what Councilman said. You hear those sirens going off, and the first thing I think of is, oh my gosh, I feel sorry for that person. I hope they're okay. But then it gives me a comforting thought that I'm in my house in the snow and it's cold and 20 degrees outside. It's a comforting thought that has go through me, and it just makes me feel good that I live in a community that's there for me. And I've thought of that several times, because I live close to the hospital, and I hear those sirens, and there's a lot of them. And every morning about 7 o'clock, I promise you, there's somebody, I don't know what the problem is, but the ambulances are running. Right? Is that heart attacks, or, what's going on at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning? But, man, it's a comforting feeling, but I pray for all those people when I hear the sirens. Thank you guys for what you do. It keeps me warm at night.
All right, I'm gonna skip myself and go on to Ward 4, Chris Hansen.
Don't have much to add other than, and I know they've been on for a little while, but the lights downtown are great.
They do look good.
They sure are.
All right, Trace Connor.
I don't have a whole lot to add, other than I had a little situation where OG&E come out to my house. I had a disconnect blow off just side of my house, and it took about 2 hours for them to come out there, fix my deal, and it was right before the storm was coming. And I had called OG&E, and they said they needed 24 hours to cut my power off. So I talked to my electrician. He said, no. He said, tell them your panel box is on fire, and you've already called the fire department. And, which it was. There was a 2-foot flame coming out of this panel box. And they were out there, cut my power off, got it all reconnected back up and everything. And I'd been messing with this for about 2 years. I'd had smoke in my garage, and I finally found the problem. And it was right before the cold storm come, and I had 2 air conditioners, or 2 heaters, and I had been trying to figure out which one was causing my problem, which I found out neither one of them was. But, and another thing, I was wanting to commend our Baker. He kept all the water on. The last time we had this situation, we were prepared this time. Yeah. And just kudos to keeping the water on and the lights on for everybody.
That's right.
That's all I got.
All right, City Manager.
Got a few things. You'll be hearing quite a bit of stir with regard to 3 different bills that are in the House and Senate. They are discussing whether or not to do away with sales tax on groceries. I encourage you to get a hold of your representative and senator and say, look, this, that's great for other states that aren't solely dependent upon sales tax to run their municipalities. This is a big deal for us. It's going to be a huge impact. Along those lines, I think by April city council meeting, I would like to be able to do a full-blown presentation to you all with regard to sales tax and use tax, and kind of help you understand where's it come from, and why is it coming from this, and what are the influences that you guys have to anticipate, Jay and I, in terms of, all right, what are we looking at here? Do we need to adjust ahead of time? And I think well, I find it fascinating. Some of you may want to bring a pillow, but in April, I think we'll be ready to fire that out, and I think you'll really enjoy that. And it does tie in somewhat to the grocery sales tax, and you'll be able to interpret a little better for your constituents why we just can't do that. It's just not affordable for us unless we plan on cutting significant staff numbers.
I think it would be more than that, because we have so much sales tax tied up with debt that we've committed based on certain numbers. And when they alter it like that,
Right.
they would be, seems to me like they
That
would be
is-
putting a lot of municipalities into bankruptcy.
Yeah.
You're
Are they
absolutely.
trying to just do it state or city tax too?
Well, depending on the bill, my understanding is that one of them does do everything. Two of them are only dealing with state sales tax and not city. So as long as, I mean, I don't know how the state's gonna afford it, but that's not our problem. It's the city that needs to be held harmless.
Well, they'll make up the difference by just passing it on an income tax, more
Yes.
than likely,
Exactly.
But that doesn't help us.
you know.
That,
And,
yeah,
and a lot of these states, when they're looking at no sales tax on things like that, a lot of them have higher property tax that
tremendous.
makes up the difference.
Yes,
Way
We don't
higher.
have that here.
that's exactly, absolutely true.
Can we have our senator and representatives at the meeting at that time when you give the presentation? Or
Session will
invite
be
'em?
over by then.
When is the election?
Well, session
Oh,
will be over,
session. You're talking
session will be
session.
over by April, right?
May, yeah, usually early May to mid-May, they're in
Signing
the
on, or
joint sessions, so.
Maybe.
I can ask them if they would mind appearing,
Do you know what their stance is on those, by
No.
chance? Just
Who
curious.
presented the bill?
I don't know that either, there are three, but I just know that it's out there, and we need everybody calling the horses to tow. We got to not have that. That's just a bad idea for all of us. So I was surprised how quickly you passed the approval of the 4K. I don't know if you read it very carefully, but each of you is required to run in that now.
To run or
I'm
walk.
gonna go a little bit further
We
in
can do a
bragging.
relay. Piece each.
I'm gonna go a little bit further in bragging on our crews. Just being out there with them during the snowstorm was fascinating to watch them work together. This is not just the street crew, and all of these guys are just unsung heroes in my books, because it's freezing cold in that garage, and they're out there hammering away, trying to get things unstuck. And what I was probably most proud of is that it wasn't just the street crews out there treating streets. It was our water line crews, the repair line crews, had all rallied together behind those guys to make sure that our public was gonna be safe. And John, correct me if I'm wrong, the night of the storm, we had 0 accidents. I think we ultimately ended up with 1 accident later the next day, 1 accident. Are you kidding me? And I just gush over those guys for being what they are and how much they care about our community. February 22nd, mark that down. February 22nd is the Hall of Fame banquet. The Seminole Community Foundation is going to be putting some new people into our esteemed Hall of Fame, and we'd love to have a bunch of city council members there. Ambulance, just an update on our ambulance. We're expecting April? Are you promising? Yeah, so If you didn't recall, our ambulances are kind of limping right now. We've made so many COVID transfers to long distances when the ERs, or excuse me, the ICUs fill up, they can send us anywhere in transfers. And it's taken a huge toll on our ambulances. But our new ambulance that we ordered last year, we are hoping will be here in April, perhaps early May. So keep your fingers crossed on that. Chief, you sent me a text a while ago about the red Chevelle that's been towed out there. I'm sorry you missed it, but there's a beautiful 1966 Chevelle that's been restored. Tim? He doesn't think that's a bit funny.
It's been impounded, I guess.
35%.
Tim,
I voted yes. I'll bill it to the bar.
if you have a minute, you need to check this car out. He's outdone himself
I
on this
inherited it.
restoration. Oh, my goodness. Okay, that's all I've got. Thank you.
All right, Mr. City Attorney.
Nothing.
All right. All right. I have a motion for adjournment.
So, second.
All in favor?
We're having so much fun, let's stay a little while.